Ladies and gentlemen, we begin tonight's adventure with a little bit of a recap of where we left off last time. Our intrepid group of explorers, newly minted crew upon their mostly repaired airship, had found their way to the Midlands of the Imperium, to a very small little township at the center of everything, but farthest from everything as well. A little town known as Rhymeglen. There was some tearful moments, there was some happy moments, but above all of that, they managed to acquire potions and supplies and materials that they needed for their voyage once again, including an array of things that they needed to help mend the curse that had been placed upon one of their companions, Oriana. They ventured their way back to the ship, participated in a lengthy and challenging ritual, to say the least, but were successful in managing to remove Oriana's curse. After doing so, with a notion of caution before them, they continued their journey. As they headed south towards the hinterlands, the ethereal hinterlands, as they are known, sparse desert region in the southlands of the Imperium, they found themselves seeing everything in a whole new light. Journeying through the Imperium from the skies, as it were, provided them a new perspective that perhaps they had not seen before. But it also gave them a chance to rest a little bit from the dramatic elements of the north. Every single day that they moved further away, they found themselves feeling a little bit less troubled by the past that they had left behind, although never fully forgetting. Sisk also surprised everyone as they began this voyage a few days after leaving Rhymeglen with a reveal that they had managed to repair their good friend Tig. Bolstered him a little bit, perhaps, gave him a little bit of, well, he probably is still a little bit dirty and needs to be cleaned, but at the very least, they managed to fix him right up, get him working again, and gave him a little bit of a makeover, as it were, for his chassis. And then the hinterlands were upon them. As everyone journeys through the hinterlands, you find that it is marked by both caution and a bit of wonder. By day, your ship touches down amid the sparse rock formations and the vast dunes, using the natural cover of the land to conceal yourselves from any prying eyes that there might be. But this landscape, being desolate, offers just enough shelter. Small outcroppings, towering sand dunes, long shadows are cast throughout this space, giving you the shelter that you need. The hinterlands themselves are eerily quiet, devoid of the bustle and life that is so common in the northern parts of the Imperium. For that, you give a little bit of thanks, as very few people live here, and fewer still would dare travel the shifting sands alone. Every now and then, as you fly through the night sky, you're able to see in the distance firelight far off, whether that be a caravan, or occasionally seeing multiple fires that indicate a settlement of some kind. You find yourselves more often than not looking up as you sail beneath a sea of stars. Using this night for its secrecy, the hinterland's isolation also does give you somewhat of a sense of safety but there is an unmistakable air of danger about as well. Everything here in the hinterlands feels magical in some way, unknown, alluring, but also with all of that comes trepidation. There are moments when the shadows between the dunes seem to ripple, and a strange flicker of light can be seen in the distance. Almost like flames that disappear just as quickly as they appeared. For 80, however, the hinterlands stir something within her. Despite the dangerous beauty of this land, she can feel a kind of peace, an almost unexplainable sense of welcome. The ethereal energy that others might find a bit unsettling feels strangely familiar to her. She stares out over the endless sands as the ship flies through the night, and she can feel a gentle pull of something far beyond her understanding. It's not frightening, no. If anything, it feels almost like a whisper calling out to her, soothing her a bit, perhaps in a way that she has not experienced before. Meanwhile, the crew continues to tend to their injured. Oriana remains pale, but her strength returns slowly but surely. Each day, the curse's hold on her goes away more and more. And thanks to the crew's care, her spirit starts to mend as well. Phelan, though still walking with a bit of a limp, no longer grimaces with every step. His broken leg healing well. And there's almost a sense of calm and resoluteness that overcomes him. Quiet conversations can pick up on how much he missed being on a ship. Speaking of your ship, it changes every single day, just a tiny little bit. You can feel a vibrancy within the walls of it. The sails become easier to manage, the rigging, the engine itself, all of it starts to feel more normal, I guess is the best way to describe it. And as you move southward, you gradually shift your course, deciding to approach Siraneth, the city that you are destined to reach, from the cover of the mountains that surround it. These rocky peaks will offer protection, of course, from people that might spot you, potentially allowing you to touch down close enough to the city and be able to approach it undetected. As the mountains loom larger on the horizon, you can see their jagged silhouettes cut into the sky every passing night. You know that this part of the journey will soon bring you into the heart of Siraneth. And as each day passes, each of you experiences your own bit of caution. You're going to be back in a very, very large city after all. There will be many more people once again. What dangers are there going to be? How are you going to find this blacksmith that you need? The only thing that you have connecting you right now is the letter from Tamara. And every now and then you can spot Bren, pull it out from his pouch, check it, make sure that the seal is still intact, put it back in. There's a bit of nervous energy amidst you as you make your way through the cool desert night into the Cragwell Mountains themselves. You hide among the shadows of the rock. It's a lot more dangerous now. There's a weight pressing down on you. It's difficult to navigate through mountains like this, but you take it slowly. Slowly but surely. And as you crest over one particular ridge of the mountain, you can see Siraneth in the distance. Nestled between jagged peaks, the restless ocean beyond, you can hear it now as well. Its echoes rising up, very similarly to the storm song, although perhaps not quite as dominating here. The city stretches wide. Towers, domes, stone all stand out against the rugged landscape of the mountains that it is nestled within. There's a break that it rests between, not quite a valley per se, but more like a mountain pass that puts it between two mountains, close to the edges of the ocean, and then blockaded on the other side by a vast, endless expanse of the desert hinterlands. You can see the moonlight catch on the tops of the buildings, the vast city districts below. When you look at it from above, you can see that there's an order to it. A bit chaotic in parts, but there's definitely an order. The aqueducts that run through the city are clearly visible, and they divide the various districts of the city as well, almost like each particular district seeming to be some kind of walled section. From this vantage point, you can see rows of spice plantations that border the northeastern portion of the city. Patches of green and gold that contrast very starkly with the desert stretching far beyond to the north. And through the sounds, and though the sounds of the distance of the city are distant from where you are, even in the night, you can tell the movement of the place. It's bustling. As you are resting, finding a good place to touch down, you can see clearly. Despite the fact that it is almost high moon, midnight, as it were, the city does not sleep. Eventually, as you reach midnight on the evening of the 12th, you find a good spot. A nice hollow cavity between a few of the craggy peaks. Smooth in parts enough that you think that you'll be able to touch down and easily be able to get off the ship. Maybe 2 hours to scale down the mountainside. 3 if you need to be careful in parts, and you'd be able to go through one particular section of the city. You're not sure which that might be. Regardless, though, you need some rest. And so you take some time, gather yourselves, and rest as best you can. In the morning of the 13th of Bress, you find yourselves in different states, renewed and yet a little nervous. Your companions are nervous as well. Oriana isn't quite sure that she wants to venture down into the city just yet. Her magic is still a little bit hard, difficult to enact. She isn't sure that she has the confidence enough to maintain her illusion. As she says this, she encourages Ren and Phelan to head down, though. Phelan, of course, is extremely interested. Everyone needs to get off the ship every now and then, and he's been on here for a bit now. Ren, of course, doesn't really show the emotions of wanting to venture down into the city, but Violet can tell. And as the lot of you take in some breakfast, start making your way down. You approach the gates of Siraneth. The towering stone walls loom above, worn, cracked by years of relentless wind and sand. The guards at the entrance give you little more than a passing glance. There's a bit of routine going on as you make your way in through a southern entrance. There are many carts and wagons also coming in. Apparently, there are peoples that live near the foothills of the mountains. Seems as though not everyone can afford to live within the city, and a good chunk of people making their way in appear to be workers, laborers, and the like. The carts are laden with tools, heavy tools, and you can smell a distinct aroma of earth, maybe sulfur almost, on the air as you make your way into this portion of the city. You find yourselves in the Quarries district. It's a bit rough, it's a bit impoverished, and you start to wonder, how is this city so well regarded if this is what it looks like? There's a clamor here, noise of pickaxes. You can hear a heavy machine pounding into stone. You feel it vibrating the ground as you walk. It doesn't take long for you to know that there are mines here. Its proximity to the Cragwell Mountains means that the city's various mining operations that help feed the wealth, whether it be gold, silver, iron, and the like, all comes through here. There's a lot of signs of hardship. The more you travel through, the more you can tell that the people here are hardy. They know what it means to toil. And most seem to do it with well-regarding. As you venture out of the Quarries district, you find yourselves in the Pilgrims Ward, and the atmosphere changes almost instantly. You can hear the noise of industry far off in the distance, but it's almost like a quiet murmur, and it is replaced with the sound of bells and the unmistakable murmur of prayer. The streets here are cleaner, smooth stones, leading to various spires and temples. The largest among them, the Temple of Ascension. You can see it very clearly from pretty much any point within the Pilgrims Ward, as its towering spire hovers far above all of the rest. You see monks in simple robes walking in groups, their heads bowed as they move between shrines and different places of worship. You can see people gathering in the courtyards, lighting candles, offering prayers, and the scent of incense drifts through the air. As you venture through, you lose count of the number of statues dedicated to the various ascendant. Most of you probably couldn't identify half of them, but there are a few that you recognize well enough. In particular, one of Orlumus catches Mira's eye. Its attention to detail is remarkable, and it reminds her instantly of being back in Orlustrum. Thankfully, you keep moving. As you venture through further, you cross through one of the larger of the aqueducts of the city. You can hear from inside of it the canal of water that flows through creates a hum, not unlike your arcanic engine, in fact. There are workers and engineers that move about that you can see. That's All fairly remarkable. The twins think of their brother almost instantly when they see the workers and the engineers. But you don't have time for that. You have to find your way to the Dawn Forge. And you know soon enough that you'll be able to find it. You ask, of course, for directions. It's pretty easy once you mention the Dawn Forge. It's a very well-known and renowned smithy. It's just up the furthest edge of the Pilgrim's Ward. Doesn't take, perhaps, high suns. That's about how long it takes before you finally reach. You can see it stands at the end of a relatively wide street. Its facade initially is unassuming, but it's marked by a very large iron sigil hanging above the door. The stone walls of the forge are blackened from years of use, and even before you fully reach it, you can feel the importance of this place. As you get closer, the heat starts to overcome. At first you had thought it might just be, high suns and being so near the deserts and the like. But no, this is a heat coming from this place. Even before you step inside, you feel that heat. You can hear the steady rhythm of hammer on metal echoing within. And inside, once you step through the first archway, you find yourselves within this forge. Glowing, open air, immense amounts of work going on here. People moving to and fro. There's probably maybe half a dozen. You're not quite sure which of them are actual blacksmiths. There's a lot going on. Besides the distinct blacksmiths that are hammering, you can see that they each have different assistants, and there's a few others going here and there. You manage to catch one such person carrying a box of random, what you think is iron ingots, and ask them, where's Mr. Kraganmore? Dove Kraganmore is the one that owns this place, after all. And as you make your way in, asking for that direction, they point to a far section of the forge. There's a man there, dwarven man. He's fairly well built, as it were. Brown hair, distinct, fine brown beard. You can see that he has a pipe hanging out of his mouth. And as he turns and looks at you, you can see him looking over a set of papers before looking up at all of you. Bleak season.
You see, looking a little harried. I think he's got quite a bit of sweat beading on his brow, and I think that it's pretty clear that while the heat of the environment is playing a role in that, there's a certain look about him, about his movement, his hunched shoulders, that sort of make it clear that he's under a fair amount of stress currently, as he's taking orders and giving orders and looking at plans and double checking things and running over to help someone who's about to drop something and stopping to show someone how to correctly hammer something else. And there's this kind of sense of, I think, of a maestro conducting an orchestra where he's not himself playing all the instruments, but he is definitely taken part in all of the different little performances that are going around, and that are helping build this sort of symphony of sounds of metals being clanked on, and hot steel being quenched into cold water, and people whistling as they're working, and the streams, the sounds of industry and of, like, a business that's really running on at full tilt. And everywhere you look, the shop is pristine, clean, just this kind of marvel of engineering, and just like this dedication to a craft. It's not just a place where weapons are made. It's a place of artistry, and that plays a very important role in the kind of flow of the entire place.
As you look up from your papers, Dove, you see this group of individuals, 7 of them, all gathered, most notably not wearing attire that you're used to. You can see clearly that they reek of Northerners.
I think Dove will look up and see them and kind of give a little sigh of, all right, what's this going to be about then? Give a couple more directions, and then kind of come over, pulling out a little pad of paper and an old nub of pencil, getting ready to jot down whatever order or whatever it is that they want. Certainly, it's just one more thing to add to the day's docket. All right, can I help you then?
As you look over and see this dwarf, Ian, I need for you to make a perception check, please.
Sure, let's do this. 12.
You can see an amulet just peeking out from under his blacksmith apron. It's a familiar one to you. It's not the same as yours, but you recognize pretty clearly an amulet of virtue hanging around Dove's neck. As you are responding to Dove.
Morning, evening. It's been a while. We're looking for Dove.
Well, you done found him, so I'll ask again. What can I do for you?
Oh, thank you. A friend of ours sent us here to ask for some help. I think this would explain a little bit more. And I take out the letter, but before I actually hand it to Dove, I kind of place it where I see the amulet, kind of like the end of it, almost as if to tap it, but I don't say anything. I go, you should probably read this first.
A little bit of a look of what the hell kind of clownery is this now? He'll take the letter, he'll use his pencil to open it.
As soon as you take your pencil across the letter, you catch the seal. You recognize it. You know Tamra's seal from anywhere. Before you even open it.
It was from? So I'm sorry. Where'd you say he was from? Speak up.
Lots of different places.
He'll look at the letter again, look at the lot of you. You can tell his demeanor's changed a little bit, like he's suddenly kind of on his guard a little bit more. But you hold on there, then he'll go back to his little desk. He'll rummage around, pull out a little pair of spectacles, put them on the tip of his nose. Unroll the letter, read it. It's very short. It takes him maybe 15, 20 seconds to read it. He'll fold it. He looks up towards the back where you can see like offices maybe and stuff like that of people working, and then he rereads the letter again. Puts it back in the envelope, walks over to the nearest fire, tosses it in. Watches it burn a little bit. Turns on and comes back. Ah, God. All right. Come along then. More fucking thing to add to the docket. Jeez.
Yeah. Just turn to the rest of the group. All right, let's go.
He'll lead you back towards that kind of office area and then up some stairs, and you'll go up maybe a couple of floors and eventually come up to a door, and you come out and it leads out onto the roof, and you can see where there's a big hole in the roof where the chimney for all the heat to come out is, but over like in one of the corners, there are parapets so that you can kind of be hidden from view, and it'll take you into a corner there, and he'll turn around as the lot of you arrive there. All right, then, out with it.
We need help fixing an engine. More so, we need help containing a magical engine. We were told that you have some of the best smith work, and you have the
the best, son, the best
smith work.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the means to help us with it. It's a large, very magically erratic engine. We barely got here with the power that it has now. We need to find an encasing. Looks around towards like the people who work with the engine, like at any time y'all can jump in.
Have you worked with lunar steel before?
Well, I certainly don't get a request for it very often.
Is that a yes?
I've worked lunar steel before. It's very peculiar.
How so?
You mean you know nothing about it?
Let's say that. Yeah, tell us all about it.
What is this? What do you need it for anyways?
Fix an engine.
An engine? What kind of engine? What kind of engine would require a case made of lunar steel? What are you, flying a hay cart or something?
No, we're flying a very large boat.
It's a primordial engine.
Do
Or
I
an
think they're
engine made
insane,
of-
or
Primordial magic.
Yes, we're flying a large boat across the skies.
are you pulling my leg?
No.
We're a bunch of weird folks.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, really.
My problem, as it were, the snag in the chain link here, is that I know Tamra really well. I know Tamra well enough to know that if Tamra sent you here, it's because she thought this was important. Now, I'm trying to understand why someone like Tamra would think that this and you lot are important.
Because, I mean, hold on.
Because you're
You know
flying out
Tamra-
in space with a boat with a primordial engine in it, right? But what are you doing with it? Is this, how did you come about it? How do you know how to fly it? How do you know how to repair it? Who does it belong to? Where did it come from? What are you doing with it? Where are you going? Why are you on it?
I thought if Tamara
I
would
can
send us
answer
in your
all of
direction,
those.
you'd be discreet. But
Oh, I am discreet. And don't you fret, little one. This is as delicate a situation as could be. There are things happening in town right now. Big things. And this is just the kind of drop that makes the entire thing overflow. So if I'm being a little cautious, if I'm being a little curious about what this all is about, you'll forgive me. But there are people's lives at stake. And if you're here because you found some ancient relic of something or other and you're about to go gallivanting across the sky in a pleasure cruise, then I'm afraid I don't really have time for it right now. But if Tamara sent you here, as you say, it must be because there's a valid reason, and I would very much like to hear that reason. And you telling me, well, because, is a surefire way for me to tell you, go find the second best smith in the world that can handle lunar steel, and good luck with that.
Mira, do you want to show him some of the maps and stuff? I'm sure
Before
have
you do
them on.
that, how'd you get that piece of hardware?
What do you be referring to?
The thing around your neck. Your
How do you think I
amulet.
got it?
You tell me.
Talent, dedication, skill, hard work.
Okay. Now try that again, but don't lie to me this time.
Oh, you think I'm lying to you?
I have a good, strong feeling.
All right, so what is it then? I bought it, I stole it, I murdered someone and acquired it? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, the way that you're approaching me, that seems more plausible. I know how I got mine.
How did you get yours?
Talent, sheer will, good looks, and a cheerful disposition.
Oh, now you're definitely lying to me.
I'm not good at deception.
You had me until cheerful disposition.
Come on. You know Tamara does not regularly or willingly hand out her connections. Just as you're friends with her, so are we. We need the help. We don't know what's going on in your city. And frankly, I speak for myself in this, I don't care. She told us you could do it. We risked a lot to get here.
And so now I gotta drop everything and go climb up a mountain with you and do this.
You don't have to drop everything, but you can still come climbing with us.
This isn't just for shits and giggles. None of us are terribly welcome in the Imperium anymore. And we're trying to go somewhere safe and regroup. This is really important. And I'll pull out, we've got the diagrams of the harness, and I'll pull those out and start unrolling them to show Dove. This is what we need you to work on.
He'll grab the paperwork and start looking at it.
As you look at this paperwork, Leek, Dove has never seen anything this precise. In the closest thing that he's ever had to look at as far as plans is when he was commissioned to build basically a vertical cannon for shooting fireworks into the sky. The level of detail in these plans is unparalleled. you can't think of a single craftsman that you've ever known that could make plans like this. And then there's also the strange writing that you can't decipher. There's a language in the writing that is unknown to you.
Where did you get these?
Does it matter?
I just don't know how this helps the rebellion.
What?
The rebellion. Tamra sent you because you work for the rebellion, right?
Yes.
We don't not work for the rebellion.
Should have just stuck with yes.
So you're not. He takes a step back and then was really kind of on his guard now.
80 just produces a handful of sparkles and lets it happen. I mean,
you're making me want to pick up drinking again.
Oh boy.
We can all kind of do that. It's just not all of us sparkle.
But you're not part of the rebellion. Then why did Tamra send you to me? I have my hands full. We have shipments of...
Shipments of what?
He looks at the plans again. Rolls them up, puts them in a pocket in the side of his pants. Look. As you said, I know Tamra, I trust Tamra. And so I am willing to help you. But you have to understand that you come at the worst possible time. I assume that if you can, and he points at 80, do the things you can do, then you're no friends of the ruling party. Which is good. But you have to understand that there are things happening in the city right now. This is a very volatile time for all of us.
There are things happening in our city too. Uprisings and murders.
So why don't you tell me exactly what it is that you are doing? Why do you want to fix this? Why do you want this ship? What do you intend to do with it? If you're not serving the rebellion, and it's fine, I don't believe that everyone has to put their lives on the line for it, but if you're not doing that, what are you doing?
We're aspiring to be a part of the rebellion, but also, there are places from, outside of the Imperium. I come from those places from outside of the Imperium, and we can see about getting help. And also, I don't think you people have been able to see the breadth of experiences that are out there. And hopefully we can also find maybe a solution to the mess that is.
It's just a little hard to take into Vista when the house is on fire.
Look, our reasons for fixing the ship are our own. It sounds like you need help. We need help. How can we help each other?
You said
I need
You
yes. I need to study these.
you also said you had things that you need to transport. What things?
Miko, like, what's my thought process here? Like, as I'm looking at these guys, is there something that I think they could do? Some way they could help? Is there?
You might have to go and speak to a couple of other people before you get someone that is not actually part of the rebellion involved. That's a conversation that probably has to wait till later, but you are correct. You do need to look over the plans and potentially need to see this engine that they have mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, with it being made out of lunar steel, or needing to be made out of lunar steel, you have to forge that in the mountains anyway, so if they are up in the mountains, as they said, that's at least one less hurdle that you have to worry about. But you also haven't seen them produce this lunar steel, and you certainly don't have any yet.
Yeah.
So,
Where did you leave this boat, ship? Well, what do you call it? Does it have a name?
Oh, you have uncovered something that.
Are you telling me you sailed out on a ship without even naming the thing?
A lot.
What
has
are you,
already-
farmers?
in
It
a ship.
had a name.
I am.
Well, good. We need farmers. Farmers should be on the land farming. Where are you? Never mind. You don't have a name.
We're working on it.
There's like a dozen of you. Surely one of you has a good idea.
Do we have to?
You know,
deal
you would
with
think so.
it?
there's
think,
a moment there where your attention is drawn as you hear a sigh and a huff from Ren, who's been standing kind of in the back of everyone very much unobtrusively. And she just crosses her arms and says, "Yeah, I got a name. It's Ren. And I guess yours is Duff. Hi. Nice to meet you."
Birds of a feather.
As she says that, Phelan, who has been kind of hovering near Mira, looks around at everyone and just like waves a hand and nods in your direction. Phelan, if, names are important, we should at least get that out of the way, I guess.
He looks at the rest of you.
I'm 80. Hi.
Hello, 80. You're the likable one, I guess.
It's kind of you to say. And yes.
She's fine, I
That's
guess.
right.
What about you, looking at Mira?
I'm the likable one's sister, Mira.
I might as well get this out of the way now. I'm Sisk, and then I'm gonna turn all blue with my goopy face.
Goopy.
Yeah, it kind of like melts.
What?
Yes, hi. So, I can help translate those like diagrams and things for you, because I don't think you're gonna get it on your own.
No, I'm probably not. We'll get back to this whole thing in a minute. And what about that one there that looks like she kills people in like dark alleys? What's your name? No name? All right. And what about you, buddy?
I don't like you.
That's fine. You don't have to. You need me. That's all that's really required at this point. What's your name?
And that second part, I'm feeling a little bit iffy on.
You have a name?
Her name's Violet and this is Bren. Just, I figured maybe
Oh,
someone should
all
watch
right.
the map there.
Hold on. He looks around. The skies aren't falling down on us. I guess it wasn't that bad telling me your name. All right, look. There are a few questions that need to be answered here. Do you have lunar steel? If so, where is it? Where did you leave the ship? What's the name of the ship? It's not that important, but I'm getting curious now, and it looks like it irks you, so I'm going to keep asking for it. You can read these plans. All right, that's great. I need to be high up on a mountain. To do the harness itself, it's not going to be a huge problem to make. Kind of an interesting challenge, actually. But lunar steel needs to be worked in a very precise environment. So these plans are all nice and great and all that, but if you need me to help you, I'm probably going to have to see the thing itself.
That's fine.
I have it. It's still raw ore. I don't know if it needs to be smelted or...
No, that's all right. It's like silly putty. I'm just going to... Of course it needs to be smelted. All right. Look. I'm happy to help you. Bit of a bad timing, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you. It's okay. It's a job to do. But I might need to see it. So I'm guessing the first thing is let's plan a little outing out there. I'll try to rearrange some of the things on my schedule. I'll have to talk to Nora, of course, and see if we can move some things around. But the faster we get up there, the quicker we get this done.
And almost on cue, you hear from down below someone call out in a powerful female voice, Dove? Dove, where you at? Somebody tell me where Dove is at, please.
It's my wife. Be respectful. Just up here, darling. Smoking a pipe, as he pulls out his pipe and his tobacco and quickly fills his pipe, and he throws the tobacco over at Bren. Just having a little break.
You're not supposed to have
And
this?
you hear a distinct sound of a door closing, and glance over at the short stairs that you guys had traveled up, and a few moments later you see a decently tall human woman, probably 5'8", 5'9", walking towards you, silver and black in her hair, a little bit messy, but very, very happy looking as she approaches. Ian, make me an insight check, please.
With pleasure. That's an extra 24, 28. Tell me all the things. I want the full backstory. I want their allergies.
Okay. I'm actually going to message you privately with one little tidbit, but I will say that you also pick up on as she... hang on, let me actually send this. As she steps up, you see there's a moment of surprise where she sees all of you, but wasn't expecting to see anyone with Dove. And that very quickly goes away. I would say 80 might actually pick up on this just naturally because of her gift as well, that little tidbit. And she immediately gets a broad smile on her face, a very practiced smile, but it's a smile, friendliness nonetheless, as she makes her way over towards the lot of you. She says, "Oh, I didn't know you had company."
Nora, These are the boat weirdos. Boat weirdos. This is my wife, Nora. These are
Hi,
friends
Nora.
of Tamra.
Oh. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Friends as in folk coming to help with our current matters, or friends as in they need help from us?
Yeah, they're the more leisurely kind of friend, I guess.
I don't even know what that means.
That means they're not here to help us. They are here because they need something, and Tara, in her infinite wisdom, has decided that I should help them get that thing. So
She just
No,
crosses her arms and stares at you for a moment.
what? It's your sister.
It very much is my sister.
That's right. And you know, I do not like to get your family irked in any way, shape, or form.
That's how you've
And so-
lived this long.
That's right. Look over at the others. I love her. I love her with all
And-
my heart.
In this moment, Bryn does like a mind link with Dove. In Dove's head, he goes, "Trust me, I get it."
There's a moment
Lucky
there.
man.
It's like, yeah. And they're now best friends.
Yes.
Is there any way you can spare me for how long is it going to take to get out there?
You said a couple hours.
It took you about 4.5 hours to get here, but you were also meandering and like having to get directions and seeing the city for the first time, and so you figure you could probably make it up back to the ship 3 hours if you rush.
Is this something y'all be wanting to do now or tomorrow early in the morning? We could set off at 4th bell in the morning.
Okay, probably early in the morning or either late evening. You also have a family, so I don't want to take you away from that. So
I
probably early
appreciate
morning.
that. Look to Nora. When would be best? When can you spare me, like, for half a
If
day?
you have to go tomorrow, you can go tomorrow. I can make do with everything else.
Darling, you could run this entire thing by yourself.
Yes, and I do very often.
I'm
Dinner?
just the looks of the
You all
operation.
look a bit travel weary.
We don't need to invite them to dinner. They're perfectly fine. They can. I will point them. We'll send them over to. You should come to dinner. It would be our honor to have you at our house. The food's terrible, and there's usually not enough of it for us. So it's going to be very, very lean. Probably a lot of turnips. We have a lot of boiled turnips. We boil turnips all the time. Boiled turnips. It's going to be.
We'd be more than happy to go into the local market and pick up anything that you think would be helpful for dinner. We don't want to show up empty-handed. That's disrespectful.
See, now
Right,
that
look at-
was the wonderful response. I'll get you a list.
Absolutely. And then in mind link with Dove. Anything for family.
And actual mind link. I use message.
Well, and you can respond to his. It's a telepathic link that you
Oh,
share
okay.
with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You
We'll
and
talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
you and Tamara?
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Better add some brandy to that list of shopping that you're going to be doing.
I got something stronger. Don't worry.
I have a feeling I'm about to start drinking again. Right.
As
well,
you all see Nora, as you are all watching Nora, you can tell very clearly that she is happy to have all of you, but there is also a little bit of tension for her as well. This is not as easy a matter as she's perhaps quite putting on, but I guess I'll go and figure out what to make. Don't leave before I get that list to you, good sir. Your name was?
Bread.
She stares at you for a moment as you say that, like unmoving.
And telepathically to Brent, she knows.
Out loud. Of course she does.
And where did you... We'll get into that later, I think.
I think over dinner would be best.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Dove, I'm going to step out after I compile this list of dinner, and I'm going to send the message to Tamra.
Oh, shit. Please don't tell Tamra.
Is there anything...
Tell her we say hi.
Oh, I'll do that. And you are young miss?
I'm 80. It's nice to meet you.
That's 80. That's Mira. That's Sisk. That kind of scary looking one over there is Violet. And this is Bran.
Mm-hmm. And the other two?
Oh, it's Phelan and Ren.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting the NPCs are there.
Gotcha. Wonderful. Wonderful. Her eyes kind of drift over Sisk a little bit. Give me an insight check. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, I can do that. Uh, 7. I have disadvantage.
Gotcha. Yeah, she was looking at you for a few extra moments there that might have made you feel a little uncomfortable, but yeah, that's what you get with a 7.
Uncomfortable.
With a 7, that's what you get.
Sick.
All right, then. You have something to entertain yourselves with until dinner time?
Yes.
She walks over and kneels down just a little bit and gives Dove a kiss on his temple. They don't leave before seeing me now. And she gives all of you a smile and a nod before she heads off.
You heard the boss. I got some work to do, so you go and visit with my wife. And if everyone's still alive after, we'll gather for dinner. It's a family thing.
If you need any help, my sister apprenticed for a blacksmith for a while, so she could, lend a hand.
Is that so? Well, you come with me, young missy. We'll put you right to work.
Sounds good. And she will give a look to Mira, but she'll go.
I think I have an apron and some gloves and boots and a face mask that will fit you.
Perfect.
You wouldn't want dirty that pretty little dress.
I'm wearing pants. It's fine.
Dove doesn't know that 80 has the highest kill count out of all of us.
The one that actually murders people in this group.
I'm so sweet.
So we'll go down and do that.
All right. So Dove immediately starts putting 80 to work. As you are walking out, Phelan will actually lean over to Mira and say, I'm very glad that you didn't mention that I can actually do some metal work. Thank you for not including me.
I figured that, I don't know. Mostly it was just a way to mess with 80. So
I'm here for it. Ren just kind of walks through all of you and starts heading towards an exit, just shaking her head. A few moments later, she actually does a couple of quick hand signals that Violet notices, where she says, I'll be back shortly. A lot of you head down into the main portion of Dove's blacksmithing shop. And despite Dove having stepped away, it was maintaining its busyness quite considerably. You see all of the various apprentices of different skill levels still milling about and taking care of their tasks. You notice very quickly Dove putting 80 to work. I'm curious, Bleak, what is the first task that Dove would actually give to 80?
I think Dove's not out to, be a pain in the ass or anything like that. I think Dove just kind of wants to get a sense of what this group is made of and what they're capable of and so on and so forth. So I think he's going to mostly be kind of trying to give her something a little bit more difficult than, apprentice level stuff to do. And then ramp up the difficulty a little bit just to get a sense, are these people who are very experienced, have done a lot of stuff, have gone around, so just to try and get a gauge of like the general level that you might expect them to be. So, definitely not like here forge this sword, but like certainly not just like here, scrub these tongs, whatever, something like that. So I think he would set you up to probably at first like make something small and kind of repetitive, like either like making nails or rivets or something like that to kind of see like how you do with that. And then if that works, then he'd probably graduate you to doing something else, but you're going to be sweating by the end of it, that's for sure.
Sounds good.
Go ahead then and let's do a blacksmithing check.
How the fuck do you do that?
Well, you can decide whether you think that this will be intelligence or dexterity. And because we have already established that you were an apprentice before and did some time working things, I will allow you to add half your proficiency bonus, because technically you're not proficient with blacksmithing tools, right?
No, I am not.
Yeah. That was something that we had kind of established for canonically. So go ahead and add half your proficiency bonus round down for that.
Wonderful.
Actually, no, I guess it would be round up. In this case, it would be round up.
Sick. I'm going to use one of my advantages because I really want to be good at this.
Okay.
Well, I preferred the first one. It's very tempting to use my other one, but let's just say I'm at a solid 15 then.
15's good. 15 is good.
I'm a little rusty.
That's a metal joke.
All right, thanks.
Oh, and she's going to pull that shit the whole time, by the way. She's going to be talking to Dove and asking a lot of questions and, So have fun with that.
Yeah, it's okay. If there are any issues, we'll hammer them out.
See, you're good.
God. I think I made a mistake, everyone. I think I made a mistake. Yeah, 1d100 psychic damage. That's what I
really
just took.
heating up.
Don't make me regret this, please. So, is there anything in particular that the rest of you would like to do in these moments while you're watching 80 sweat and toil over whatever it is that she's making?
Yes. I'd like to turn to the rest of them and go, kind of, sort of, part of the rebellion? That's the plan now?
I don't know. I said we're not part of the rebellion. I tried to give us some wiggle room.
Okay. That wasn't That's not what we talked about. To be
What
fair,
did we talk about?
we didn't talk about anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But we definitely didn't allude to that. Why would we? We don't even know what's going on. Why are we joining a rebellion?
Oh, why
No.
would Tamara say that and not let us know? Sorry, Violet.
I don't think we are joining the rebellion. We're leaving.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like that up there, and I don't want to mislead these people. So, there's a couple things on our list. The first one, our involvement. The second one, groceries. The next one, name the ship, because apparently that's a thing.
Well, I think a good first step is if Dev needs to talk to people to find out how much he can tell us, I'm just gonna go find out what I can from the people on the street, I think. I can also do some grocery shopping at the same time, I guess.
That sounds
But
good.
to kind of get an idea of what's going on, because apparently the tension's high, but
I actually think that would be best. That's a good idea.
and then I guess we can choose how involved we want to get.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at the most that I would prefer to be involved is, he did say he needed things transported. We have a means of transportation. If we want to assist, I would think that would be at least the first step. But before we decide charging in with the full-blown rebellion, we should probably dial it back a few steps.
I'm happy to return a favor to a friend who's doing us a favor. That doesn't mean we're joining a rebellion.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. We didn't read the letter. Maybe Tamara just, because Tamara's part of the rebellion, Dev just assumed that we are too. I don't.
Do you know what the letter said, Bren?
It was sealed. Wait.
It was sealed. Bren did not
It
read
was
the
sealed.
letter.
Yeah. No, it was sealed. Yeah, so no, that was all news to me too. I don't know what it was said on there, but there had to have been some mentioning that we're part of the cause.
I want to make
Hey.
sure that he doesn't have any expectations of us.
Yeah.
I keep
Phelan-
him low.
Phelan just like just so we're clear, I very much agree with Violet here, but I don't want to be part of any rebellion. Yes, that definitely. I do agree if there's something that we can do for Dove, we should do that, but what kind of a time crunch are we on here?
I mean, the time crunch was getting the boat here to get fixed. After that, no time crunch.
Okay. Maybe Sisk, would you mind some company? I think that we should also maybe check and see what the religious tenor of things is at the moment. Dove kind of implied things are getting hot, and if there's anything going on with the Nostromo or the clergy or anything, we should probably try to figure that out as quickly as we can, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. That would help. I know somewhat about some of the ascendants, but definitely not all of them.
I'm definitely the wrong person to ask about that shit. But,
This is
you
when
know,
we could have used that dad, right?
I mean, Mira, you have some knowledge, right?
A bit, yeah.
Maybe it'd be best if you went too.
if that's where you feel I'll be most useful.
I think so. In this particular case, you do have the strongest knowledge base about any of this.
Okay.
Bryn and I will get groceries.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Maybe you can help Nora with prep.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Okay, hands in. Come on.
As you're doing the hands in, and a few people are like hesitantly putting their hands in, you know, the whole "this is kind of weird" vibe. A very small child, only about 3.5 feet tall, comes running at full breakneck speed at the lot of you, with the piece of parchment in hand, kind of waving in his hand, and you hear him, like, not necessarily squealing per se, but that childish kind of energy about him as he just runs in. Are we doing it? And he's like holding this piece of parchment, and he's got his hand like way up to come slamming down on all of you guys.
My heartstrings have been tugged. I pick him up so that he could go on top of the hands.
I'm like, yeah, what's your name, buddy?
I'm Taryn.
Taryn on 3.
1, 2, 3. Taryn! I don't know why that filled me with so much joy.
Taryn just, now it's a full-on squeal. Dove, you look over and you see your son amidst the lot of these people, and as Bren is holding Taryn just like shoves the piece of parchment in Bren's face, like too close for him. He knows what it is at this point. Like it's a list, but you know, he's just like holding it in Bren's face. Big huge smile on his face. I'm Taryn, by the way.
Hey, Taryn. I'm Bren. I'm a
yeah.
friend.
I know. Mom told me.
Cool. This is the list?
Yeah. Can I go with you?
You'll have to ask your parents for that.
Damn it. Why does everybody say that?
Because it's the responsible thing to do. But Taryn, I will do this for you. What's one thing that you really want for dinner? Right.
What do you mean?
I don't know, right? Maybe something before dinner. Your favorite candy, pastry, copious amounts of sugar in liquid form. What is it that you like, Taryn?
You're still holding him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's very light. You would estimate that he's probably like, he's not quite a teenager, but you've interacted with enough dwarves to know that he's probably older than 10 but less than 13, somewhere in there. But he's very slight and small for his age. And as he like leans into you, he like, now that you have the piece of paper, he like puts hands on your shoulders and he just stares at you, locking eyes, and he says, "There's some pecan cookies in the market that are amazing."
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you my word, Taryn. I'll bring you a dozen.
Don't tell Dad I told you.
Yeah, don't tell your dad I said I'd do that.
Okay. And he just holds up a pinky.
Oh,
This super tiny
absolutely.
pinky.
Absolutely. Down.
I want to say, Taryn, thank you so much for bringing us that list. Here, let me. I want to give you something, and I'm gonna do some fake magic and pull a silver coin out from behind his ear and give it to him. Thanks for giving us the list.
I can go get my own cookies now.
Think about it. You could have 2 dozen, one for me and one you can buy yourself.
Thank you. I'm gonna save this. And he just like pockets it in like between his pants and his belt.
Taryn, before you go, you're not allergic to pecans, right?
Oh, who's allergic to pecans? Are you allergic to pecans?
No, I'm checking in. Just want to make sure why your parents wouldn't let you have them. Seems fine.
Dad doesn't like it when I eat sugar.
Oh, really?
That mean you're not getting me my cookies anymore?
No, that means I'm going to get you cookies and something else filled with sugar. Yeah.
He's just like closing his mouth, trying to contain the energy building up within him.
It's okay. Go be excited over there.
Okay. And you just like set him down and he bolts. You hear a moment later, God damn it! Something getting knocked over somewhere, and you see Taryn getting chased out from behind, holding on to like a wooden mallet that's probably used for, smithing.
I loved that. I loved all of that. We have to get this kid cookies, all the cookies. How much would like 5 gold get me? A crap ton, right?
5 gold would get you like a year's worth of cookies.
Just want to be a good uncle. Anyway, we're good. I guess this is where we do our thing. Yep, awesome. Okay, bye.
As you
Okay,
look,
I love you. Have fun.
as you look down at the list, you can see that it's not going to be a hugely difficult list, but it's a few good things on there. So, just so I understand the plan, Ren and Violet are heading off for grocery shopping. Dove and 80 are blacksmithing. 80 is testing, or being tested. Mira, Sisk, and Phelan are going off trying to get the lay of the land and see what they can learn. And nobody knows where the fuck Ren is.
Yeah, that's usual though.
Yeah, that's about normal.
Awesome.
Just
And
watch.
I would like to point out that I'm not just testing any, but I'm interro testing.
Intero testing?
Yeah, it's like interrogating and testing at the same time.
Okay. How's 80 handling that?
Like a damn champ. She would answer his questions. I think using her ability to, sense his emotions, her insight, all of that, she would, within those bounds, would just straight up tell him things about our group, and she wouldn't really hold back.
And so then let's go ahead and we'll come back to that later. Ian and Andrew, let me get perception using charisma from the two of you.
Oh. Okay.
$14.
I'm definitely gonna use one of my advantages. Hell yeah, dirty 20.
Nice. Between the two of you, it's pretty easy for you to find most everything on the list. The hardest part is actually the cookies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Violet has an exacting standard when it comes to baked goods. Correct?
I'd say so.
Yeah. You probably go through 3 or 4 merchants where you taste a pecan cookie before you find the one that's actually good enough to Violet standards. But yeah, you eventually, after a couple of hours worth of work, manage to get everything that you need and start heading back to the Dawnforge.
Do I also find like a big bag of hard candy too?
Sure.
Cool. Keep your promises, kids.
And when you say hard candy, you're not talking like peppermint sticks or something. You're talking like full
Jolly
on sugar.
Ranchers,
Yeah. Full on sugar bomb, whole 9 yards. Yeah, gotcha. Cool. Bleak, you just got a hail from Varl B. Gem.
Varl, hail right back at you, sir.
And for the others that you are investigating, trying to get the lay of the land and such, I need checks from you as well. This can...
Okay.
You can decide how you want to handle this, but I think could be... I could see an argument for persuasion, I could see an argument for insight, I could see an argument for investigation. You tell me what you would like to roll, and if it's not one of those three things, then I'll make you argue your stance. But you do have to tell me what you're going to roll.
I'm gonna roll investigation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do persuasion. I'm gonna mostly be chatting with people and trying to get them to tell me things. I'm going to, in advance, call that I'm using one of my advantages, because
Okay.
can only help.
Got it.
Yay! 25!
Nice. And Deb, what'd you get?
17.
17. Okay. So we'll start with the 17. With that investigation, you are able to discover pretty clearly that not just within the Pilgrim's Quarter, but mostly within the Pilgrim's Quarter, scattered throughout the city, but again, mostly in the Pilgrim's Quarter, are at the very least shrines to pretty much all of the Ascendant. There are a few noteworthy exceptions. There are some Ascendant that, people don't worship openly. And in many cases, there are multiple temples or shrines to various Ascendant, particularly Telthora. Telthora is by far the most prominent of the Ascendant here within the city of Siraneth. And along with that, you can actually see pretty easily over the course of the couple of hours of investigation that there's a little bit more religiosity to the leadership in this city. Through most of the Imperium, there's a distinct, quote-unquote, separation of church and state. Churches, religions always have influence, but it's never really direct. And just in what you three are able to pick out over the course of those hours, nearly all of the prominent people within the city are worshippers of one Ascendant or another, predominantly Telthora. And the only place that you've ever seen anything close to this is in the capital. So it stands out to Mira in particular as being different and maybe a little bit off-putting, but I'll let you decide that for yourself. Kay, with your 25, you get a name. Elora Thurn. She is an Inquisitor of the Nostromo. And she is in Siraneth. It's not as overt as it was in Orlustran, but there is there is an inquisition happening. Even if it's not as horrifying and disastrous as it was back home in Orlestron. In particular, you pick up on this notion that Alora and the Inquisitors that are with her are trying to find hints of the rebellion within the city. They know it is here. And that's what they're looking for. Doesn't seem to be as focused on cursed people as much as you're used to. And it very much reminds you of a little bit of your past life. The few people that you have to interact with, you're using your gifts to disguise yourself. But there's a little bit of tension there that I think is going to unsettle Sisk to a degree. You guys really murdering my NPCs in chat? What the guys? Anyway. What you all choose to do with that information is, of course, up to you. As you all reconvene a few hours later, back at the forge, what state is 80 in right now?
Sweaty. Very, very sweaty.
Sweaty?
Very sweaty. She probably has smudges on her face or whatever the fuck happens when you do blacksmithing. I don't really know. And I think she looks more alive and confident than she has seemed in the last several weeks. Part of it's being here in this weird ethereal place that makes her feel kind of crazy. But also using skills that she has earned and being useful, I think, is really rewarding at the moment.
And how has the interrogation gone? Bleak?
I think that I'm getting a good view of who this group is and how they function and all that. And I think that, he's kind of feeling a little bit better about the whole thing and of helping and so on and so forth. So I think that it's a good talk. Good talk. Good talk.
As everyone reconvenes, Bren and Violet are summarily dismissed from the kitchen. Nora isn't going to let that stand. Your guests, you don't cook your own food. Being a guest. She's very nice about it. That kind of forceful, but very nice. You don't want to offend. You also do a good enough job of conveying that you just want to help and whatnot. But you are ejected from the kitchen. Does anyone have anything in particular that they wish to do before dinner?
I'd like to check in with Violet.
Would that have happened while you guys were out shopping, or?
Yeah, probably, but I didn't want to.
Okay.
Like everything was going so great. I didn't want to do anything.
Well, imagine we're just sitting in the dining room, then while Nora's chopping away.
Right, just kind of hanging out in the den, just like cool. Hey, how you doing?
I don't know. I'm all right.
Just all right. Just kind of.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you mean? How am I doing with what? I guess there's a lot
Not with
going on.
anything particular. See, no. Okay, hold on. Let slowly roll, Jim Shoe. I'm just making sure that you're okay. Like it's been go for a while, and I don't think any of us had like a time to sit and kind of breathe. I know I haven't, so I can only imagine that you lot haven't either. And I don't know, this is the first time that you and I have been able to kind of just chat. You know, update me about what's going on inside that head, or I might have to telepathically find out. You know,
Do that.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been fine. It's been nice to kind of just, like you said, slow down a little bit. I don't know. I've been trying to. It feels like I've processed a lot of what's happened to me in the last couple weeks. But now I just feel shitty for not being there for my friends. It's kind of where I'm at.
At what point were you not there for your friends?
You know, when their mom died.
Violet, honestly, just being present in those kind of moments is enough.
I wasn't very present. That's the thing. I actively avoided them. That's what I mean.
You don't have to apologize. Listen, a lot happened in that moment. The three of you were both dealing with very equally traumatic things. It's not your fault in how you felt, and it doesn't make you less of a friend or a person for trying to deal with it. You're still here. You could have taken that and just ran away with it. Just because you distance yourself doesn't mean that you weren't present.
I mean, I was like not physically present for them, which is, I just feel shitty for doing that. And it's like, what's that?
I'm sorry. Did you tell them that?
No, of course not.
Okay. Why don't we start there? Whenever, in your own time, but it might be a good place to start. But don't minimize how you're feeling either.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even ask them like why their dad isn't with us anymore. He just didn't come back with us. Just super weird.
Well, I mean, it's not that weird. He lost his wife. These girls lost their mother. He still has sons that don't know, so he's probably dealing with that.
Yeah. I don't know, just it's really weird going from like having someone that I would tell everything to all the time to not having that. And it feels like it's my fault because I'm the one that's avoiding my friends.
It's not your fault, but I understand how you feel that way. And it's a very strong feeling. But I think the biggest thing you can do is not stay there. It's extremely important for you to acknowledge how you're feeling and to work it out as best you can. But the first step in growth is doing what you can to move past it and build on it. Again, in your own time. I do think the first step is just talking to them. Person can go crazy listening to the sound of their own wheels turn. You don't want to stay there.
How are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing. It's fine. I'm fine. This is crazy. The sense of responsibility that I feel that I've taken on recently with the three of you. It's weird. It's stressful. It's aggravating. It's stressing. I said that already. I'm going to double down. It's stress-inducing. And it's very... You all are so erratic. And you don't know what you're going to do next. And the next thing you do is in the blink of an eye. And that can change with a single thought. It is agonizing. But... it's probably some of the best times that I've had in a very long time. It's funny that you mentioned being useful. I feel like this is the first time that I've been useful in ages.
What do you mean?
It's the same thing that I told you before. A man can go crazy listening to the sound of his own wheels turn, and I have been listening to that symphony for what feels like years. And this is the first time that the music has died down in my head. Now, granted, it's been filled with screams and wails and all this arcane ridiculousness, and now we fly on a boat. But it's better than me sitting down and listening to me tell me how I am not doing anything. So, instead of being the own conductor of my pain and my fate, I'd rather allow someone else do it. And the song that the three of you have been creating for me this entire time is the most beautiful thing that I've listened to in ages.
Ren, you know we love you, right?
I do. I love the three of you as well. You all have 3 more opportunities to hear that. Use them wisely.
I mean, I can't hog them all. You have to say it to each of them.
Now, this one is specifically for you, Violet. You've been there with me and many times. At some situations that you didn't even realize I was going through, but you were just still there, even if it was you bothering me. So this one is specifically for you. We'll figure out the rest for the rest at a later time.
I'm glad we came and visited you that day.
I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
That felt good. That was really nice. That was good. You know, you can always talk to me, even if you're not saying anything. I brought my chair with me. You can always sit next.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that.
Anytime, Violet. Well, I have to pee.
Wonderful. As everyone starts making their way into the Kraganmore home, Bleak, would you like to describe what kind of living situation the Kraganmores are in?
Yeah, I think kind of opposed to, so the word that's coming to mind is cozy clutter. So, you know, in Harry Potter, what's the redheaded kid, his family name?
The Weasleys.
The Weasleys, you know, their home, like there's like all this stuff all over the place, and it just looks like really lived in and kind of, you know, it's messy, but it's not dirty. It's not, you know, it's cozy clutter, right? So I think I think first of all, it's not very ostentatious. I think it's kind of very simple and, but not plain, you know, like it's the best built house on the block. It's just not the most extravagant house on the block. Like obviously, they've made a good choice of house. They've added to it. They've built it up. It shows that level of craftsmanship. And it's probably not super big either, but there's probably like a very nice kind of dining area with a hearth, and it's very warm and welcoming. There's probably on the walls like old tools that Dove has collected, like, you know, from other places, and things like smithing tools and things like that, and they're kind of hanging on the wall as sort of decorations. But then there's probably also a very kind of earthy touch with a lot of flowers, or even like dried flowers and things like that. And it is definitely a warm, cozy, welcoming kind of place. All the chairs or whatever is there to sit on, it's all old, but it's not ratty. It's just like kind of old and really comfortable. And, you know, kind of now you kind of want to make some tea and just sit in one of these chairs or couches and just kind of open the window, listen to the rain fall of a Sunday afternoon kind of deal, you know. It just has that comfy place.
That sounds awesome as hell, honestly. It sounds really good.
And as all of the rest of you start making your way into the Krakenmoor's home, which is adjacent to the smithy, the forge, you can smell the amazing aromas of dinner coming from the kitchen. Bren and Violet in particular have managed to catch glimpses of Nora cooking away before being, you know, swatted with a wooden spoon, told to get out. Some things are common no matter what part of the Imperium that you're in. And the rest of you start gathering up in this comfy, cluttered home. Is there anything you wish to share with each other before dinner?
I'm going to give the kid the cookies and the candy.
Okay.
Taryn, not too many of those before dinner.
Aw, Dad!
No one spoil your appetite.
He only knows about the cookies. He doesn't know about the candy that I left in your room.
Hey. I'm going to go eat these in my room, Dad. Tell me when dinner's ready, okay?
I just shoot Bren up.
What?
Kind of look.
What? The boy's little. Needs some more meat on his bones.
Yeah, and he's not going to get it by chewing sugar. He's going to get it by eating good food. And then after you've had the good food, then you're going at it backwards. So I thought you were a farmer. You eat the good food first, and you build up. Well, you take care of most of your appetite, and then you top it off with a little sweet thing or a little, you know. And it's like ending a meal with a very nice pipe, right? You just want to let it roll in your mouth and kind of get that nice, sweet, tingling taste of that tobacco filling your mouth and just putting a cap on everything. But before you get to that, you need to have the good stuff. And if you teach any of these kids to get the good stuff before they have to go through to get the stuff they want and the sweet stuff before they go through and actually get the good stuff, they're never going to get to the good stuff. They're just going to want the rewards. They're just going to want the sweet stuff. And then you're left with a bunch of kids who, you know, don't want to work, don't want to, you know, do what's right for themselves, don't want to be healthy. They just want to get the sweet stuff. And if you don't give it to them, then you're going to get a big crying fest, and they're going to be lying on their backs and beating their legs and their feet up and down. And then you got to deal
all
with
of a sudden interrupted as Nora comes into the room.
Still going.
Nora walks into the room carrying a massive pot in her hands, with like towels and such at the edges, and she yells to her husband, "Is there a place I can set this down on the table? Have you managed to do that yet? You aren't even clean from the forge."
I'm getting to it, but I caught this rapscallion here feeding Taryn cookies.
You know, Nora, it's just a shame. People nowadays, they don't have a sense of priority. It's always work, and they're just so focused on doing the next task.
Shut up and set the
they don't
table. You go
stop.
get cleaned. The rest of you, get some
Yes,
napkins. And she just walks over to the table and she sets down this enormous pot. You can see that it has a slow-cooked lamb inside of it. As you all come back to the table with plates and napkins and silverware and the like, she starts doling out food on everyone's plates, and she doesn't ask what you want or how much you want or anything like that. She just starts serving everyone. There's lamb spiced with cumin and coriander. You can see that it's got onions and garlic with a bit of dried apricots mixed in with the sweet gravy that is kind of poured over each bit of lamb. There's some spiced couscous with slivers of almonds and raisins, bits of saffron sprinkled on top, bit of cinnamon thrown in as well. There's several different plates of freshly baked flatbread. You see a herb yogurt sauce thrown in there too, and then a single plate at the very end that has a variety of pastries that appear to have mashed dates and honey thrown in with them. And as all of this array of food is kind of served out to each of you, you can tell pretty clearly that Nora tries to keep a bit of a jovial atmosphere going. There's a bit of small talk to it. Taryn, of course, comes down, and he's actually very excited about the food, despite the cookie crumbs that are like hanging from his mouth and all over his shirt and hands. Nora shoots another look over at Bren at one point as she's like wiping the cookie crumbs from her son's face, but you can tell that there's a bit of a curl at the edges of her lips as she's smiling. And as she sits down, you guys are all partaking in this wonderful meal. Ren comes in about a minute or so after food was starting to be served, silent as ever. Nora just kind of gestures to an open seat and starts serving her. You can tell pretty clearly that Ren is bothered by something, but Violet also, and the rest of you probably too to some degree, know that it's going to end up being a conversation for later. As this meal is being served and you have all of this atmosphere, I'm very curious how each of you are feeling at this moment. We'll start with Dove, actually.
I think at this point, Dove has kind of leaned back in his chair. He's unbelted his belt a little bit, and he's like, letting his little dad bod belly kind of stick out a little bit, and he's kicking back, and he's stuffing a pipe. This is kind of where he feels at home. This is his moment. Like during the day, there's like 15 minutes where Dove allows himself to just do things for him, and it's right here after dinner. Right after this, he's got to get up and do some more work, but for now he just sort of kicks back and stuffs his pipe. Will put his tobacco on the table for whoever wants some. If they brought something to drink, he'll break out little glasses for it, but he doesn't have one for himself. He doesn't drink, but he'll sit back and I'll want to see what the others are doing, but there's something he'll want to say after that. But he's just kind of enjoying it. He'll at some point like reach out and touch his wife's hand and kind of as a thank you for the wonderful meal, and just kind of be proud and happy to be in this family and to have this stuff. And I think this is like I said, the 15 minutes in his day where he doesn't worry about the rebellion or anything. He just puts his feet up and, stokes the fire. And they probably have like a couple animals. He probably has like a couple of cats or something. There's one, this big old tabby that just comes up and sits on his dad belly and just sort of falls asleep there while He's smoking up next to the hearth.
Nice. Violet?
I think if Nora lets Violet will be doing dishes.
But how's she feeling as the dinner and such is going on?
Kind of content. I don't think we've had a good meal in a while, and it's just nice to have everybody around in a nice, cozy home. I think it probably reminds her of time before the boat and the airship and everything. So she's probably feeling a bit more content. And then after her conversation with Bren, she probably is wanting to chat with her friends later or something.
80?
80 is looking good. I don't know if she would have had a chance to like not make herself look disgusting.
I'm sure she got cleaned up.
Wonderful. That's fantastic to know. Well, she looks extra great then. She is content and maybe a little bit worn out in a way that feels really wonderful. Yeah, and I think she's been enjoying listening to any conversation between Dove and Nora and her friends. I mean, just about anything. I think she's maybe a little bit quiet, but in a way that is appreciative, not like she's disconnecting.
Sisk? Sorry, Sisk?
Whereas 80 is connected but quiet, I think Sisk is disconnected. Sisk is waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're uncomfortable. Like, they, they've been very solitary, and they've never really been with family in any capacity. So this is all very new. They're very uncomfortable. They're like wallflowering to the nth degree, putting as much space as between themselves and everyone else as they can.
Bren?
I think Bren is very distracted, but it's more so of he's noticing the interaction between Dove and Nora and then their son, and kind of really like looking at that entire interaction. And he like goes up next to Dove and he takes the tobacco and kind of like rolls himself up something because he doesn't have a pipe, and kind of sits with Dove and just he's hoping that sitting here with him he can get some of that feeling that Dove has with his wife and his child, and like hopefully it can kind of sustain him for a little bit. He's appreciative that they have that, but he's also a little bit saddened that he doesn't. He just kind of hangs out around him.
Mira?
Mira feels a little bit melancholy watching Nora and Dove interact and realizing that she's never going to be in a room with both of her parents again. And just recognizing how quickly things can change and be taken away. I think she's also worried about this city and the fact that there's an Inquisitor here, and knowing what has just brief little glimpses of what's happened in Orlestra. And I think she's worried about that happening here and the ways that people's lives are going to be upended here as well. So she's just, I think, also kind of against the wall near Sisk, just not purposefully withdrawing, but her sort of melancholy mood is taking over and preventing her from participating in most of the fun.
As you are all sitting there, Ren is, of course, the hardest being in the world to read. But Violet, you can tell that something is definitely bothering her. Phelan, I think, falls in a little bit in line with kind of 80s experience of it. Kind of just sitting there enjoying having a relaxing moment with good food and good company, and not having to worry about the stress of the airship, at least for a hot second. And maybe picks up a little bit on Mira's melancholy nature and tries to console her a bit through that. But eventually dinner does wrap up. Nora shoos Taryn off to get ready for bed, which, is going to take some time. But
Because of all the sugar.
After Taryn leaves the room, and plates are cleared and the like, Nora kind of waits for an opportune moment of everyone being at the very least within earshot, if not necessarily gathered up in the exact same room, before she says, so, I sent a message off to Tamra, and she said with pretty clear words that whatever your situation is doesn't affect us. Doesn't affect the rebellion anyway. She also said she never told you, and she's kind of looking at Bran when she says that. She never told you about her connections.
Tamra, her biggest weapon are her secrets.
Ain't that the truth? Just out of curiosity, whatever this quest is that you are all on, that you need Dove's help with, is it so much more important than the rebellion?
I think they're on equal ground.
All right, then. Fair enough.
We can't expect everyone to feel the same way we do about this.
Oh, I never do.
Well, no disrespect to the two of you. We didn't say that we didn't feel the same as you. It's just our position in your fight is not the same. It's really hard to help anyone feel free when you yourself do not. So, going back to your original question, they're on equal playing field because once we find what we need, we'll be able to give that to anyone else.
And what's that? Freedom?
If you want to call it that.
Are you going to get freedom by climbing in the sky and flying away from all your troubles?
Some people need a symbol of strength to find their own. Maybe we can be that. Maybe we can find our own. But it's a sense of trying.
Nora kind of looks between Dove and Bren, a little bit confused. I don't know what flying is all about, but you do remember you're afraid of heights now, dear husband.
You don't need to remind me. I do
You
love
all
my feet planted
You all
firmly
aren't
on
going
the
to
ground.
need to keep him long or take him flying
No.
somewhere, are you?
I do not intend
Absolutely not. No.
Wonderful.
to. They need me to fix their means of transportation.
Okay.
And once that is done, I will return here, keep doing what we've been doing, and they will fly off to gods know what adventure awaits them, but to each its own path.
I wouldn't be opposed to you, both, all of you, three of you coming with us, but you have a more important role here, and I wouldn't dream of taking that away from you.
Bren, we have the same dream that you do. We dream of freedom. I think Doe's going to reach out and take Nora's hand in his. We're not doing this because we enjoy it. We're doing this because we feel it needs to be done, but ultimately, our goal is, like you, to be able to get away from all of it. We just need to hold on a little bit longer, a few more things to do, and then once those things are done, once we're satisfied that we've done all we can, then we'll be seeking for our own horizon.
It's just taken us 5 or 6 years longer than we anticipated is all. And she gives Dove's hand a squeeze and shares a knowing look with him.
War is a war.
Say the least.
I always hear this talk about rebellion, but what is your plan after? You fight your way, you kill a bunch of people, you cut down...
Oh, no.
What do you do after?
Young miss, we try to avoid harm at all costs. Our goal is to save as many people as we can. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to make sure that people with gifts don't end up persecuted to the end of their existence.
Don't have to flee to the first horizon simply to feel like they can live free.
They also don't need to be contained in the land of their own oppression either.
Well, right now, it's more about survival than anything else.
Back in the day, around the time I met Nora, we were traveling and there was a city we came to. A small town, really. And things were fairly difficult there. It seems that there was a lord of the land who was quite, well, devoted to his own enrichment. Things were difficult for the people of that town. As we came in, we found this young man, a bard, sitting in the streets, playing songs, did not have a cup out for money or anything like that. And as we approached, we heard the lyrics of his song, and the lyrics were very subtle, but they were couched in poetry and imagery, but they were lyrics about standing up against oppression, doing the right thing, changing things, how every job starts with the first day, every journey starts with the first step. Someone has to take that step, someone has to go forward and do that first day of work. And as I listened to him and looking around at the town and the state of it, I found it difficult to understand why he was sitting there singing. Why was he singing instead of fighting or doing something? And when I approached to him, I said, why do you do this? Why are you sitting here singing? What good is singing when there is such oppression at hand that a strong sword arm would do better than a million songs? And he said, there are those who can swing swords, and there are those who can't. My voice adds to the clamor of those swords ringing. It is one more way for people to hear the truth, to hear what needs to be done, and so that those who cannot bear to listen to the clanging of swords can at least still get the message, still get the idea. And that's when I realized that we all have our part to play. We all have something that we can do to help. And some people it's fighting, killing. Some people it's doing what we do, which is redistributing provisions, equipment, wealth, using our status, and he taps his little medallion, and our access to the fine leaders of this city to help the others. And we all have a path we have to walk, and this is ours. And if your path is one that takes you somewhere else, then that's fine. And that's what you must do. But just remember that every voice is a unique opportunity to add to the chorus, and eventually the chorus will overwhelm the din and noise of the tyrants.
It's extremely insightful, friend.
And
I'm
sure read it
that-
somewhere.
It's a good read. I'm sure that most agree. I apologize if our voice in your chorus isn't singing the proper note, but trust me, we are singing the same song. And he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out his amulet and puts it on the table.
Nora's
We all have
eyes
our-
kind of alight to it, glance back at Dove, and then look up at you, and she just has a soft smile at the edges of her lips, and she just nods.
We deeply appreciate your hospitality and know that you ever have our favor. If you need anything, you can rely on us.
Well, I'll be happy to let you know in a couple of days. Dove, we have 2 days.
Well, 2 days to what? To get this done?
Everything
You know
sets.
how good I
everything's-
am. I'm not gonna need more than 1 day.
Right. You have 2. Everything sets out evening 2 days hence. All right.
I suggest we all go and have a little bit of shut-eye. We'll be getting up pretty early. Head up that
Speaking of
mountain.
getting up early, why don't you go tuck your son in?
Is he still running around screaming at the top of his lungs, I want more candy?
I haven't heard his footsteps thundering above, so I'm imagining that he's almost ready for bed.
As he gets up and empties out the bowl of his pipe and cleans it and puts it away, he'll say, the quietest noise in this house is the sound of my son sleeping. And for me, that is the most resonant and powerful sound in this entire chorus of ours. However little, however big, each note is important. And with that, he'll get upstairs.
As he leaves, she says, Lord knows it ain't the sound of him sleeping, because that'll keep anything awake at night. We've got a few
I couldn't
rooms.
I heard that.
We've got a few rooms upstairs if you all don't mind sharing. But you're, of course, welcome. Anywhere I can give you a few recommendations. It's all up to you. I'm gonna go and make sure that Taryn does not take advantage of Dove's kind demeanor once again. But I'll be back down in a little bit and you can tell me what you want to do.
Thank you.
She stands up and gives each of you a warm smile before following her husband. And as you all stare at each other, getting ready to try to decide what it is that you want to do next, that's where we're going to end it tonight, ladies and gentlemen.